Hi, good afternoon, guys. So my name is Saiyai, the CEO of MSeed Asia. We are a publisher based in Bangkok, Thailand. But besides being a publisher, we also ran the first game Accelerator in Thailand. So I'm here today to talk to you guys about partnering with the game Accelerator and how to get the best of it. So before we start, let me, introduce on how we work a little, so you understand more of what is a game incubator or game accelerators are. So let me start with this video. All right, so those are the games that are in our first batch of incubator. So here's, the background. So what you can see from the video is that from the MSeed Accelerator, we provide a workspace, individual focus, commercialization, global partnership, and mentor. As you can see, we have classroom of the teams, the indie studio that participate with our program, and they have classes that have been lectured by speakers from all over the world. This is just example of the mentor that came into our program. We have people from EA, Zynga, Gumi Asia, or Rakuten or PlayLab who just came here earlier and presented here, but we have more mentors that come from all over the world, and I think that's very important because it's not so often that the Thai game indie studio would get knowledge from mentors from around the world. And besides mentorship, the Accelerator program also provides seed funding. We provide 2 rounds of funding for the team in the first batch. So first of all, let me go back a little. So when we first started off, we have 60 teams from all over the country that apply to our program, and then we scale it down to 20, and then with 10 teams. With the 10 teams, we give out a price of 10,000 baht as a seed funding for them, and then with all 10 teams, they get to be with us for a boot camp for 6 months, and then we pick the top 5 that we give away another 500,000 baht as a seed funding for them to start working on the game and make it happen. And then we have a demo day for them, which is a big event, half-day event for them to pitch the idea in front of investors and publishers from region and in Thailand, so that hopefully that by the end of that day, after 6 months, they have a game that's good enough to not sell in the market or upload to the app store yet, but the idea is legit enough and they have the business plan that's good enough for the publisher to actually buy the games and publish it, or even the investor to invest the money in it. So why did we start a first game accelerator in Thailand? Because I believe that Thailand is ready. From this report, we are the number 22 in the mobile payment readiness, which is very, very important. If you ever done app or startup or games in Thailand, you will know that, free to play, it's still number 1. Even app, you need to have the free app that will be popular. But then before this year, we have a problem that people don't have that many credit cards. So we don't even have the way to pay for the in-app purchase or, the in-game purchase or anything, but now we are more ready than ever. So, we have partnerships with banks or even telco provide the bill payment that allow you to make more purchase within your app. So that's good for the startup or indie game studio. And 80% of Thais will have smartphone by 2020, and 97 million mobile connections, which is 150% of population, because we only have 67 million people in Thailand, but the mobile phone is over 97, so that's a big gap of growth. And when I look back, because I was in startup industry before, and I see that all the big telco in Thailand, which is DTAC, True Incube, and AIS, they all support startups. They have incubator program that support startup. And we have the Thai tech startup, and 500 startup even started a fund specifically for Thailand. It's called 500 Tuk Tuk. And Disrupt University is a university set up specifically for startups. But as you can see, none of this do game. So we wanted to be the first that actually incubate and accelerate the company, the studios that actually focus on game and not just any startup. And when we look at the number, Newzoo report that for the revenue from Thailand is 230 million US dollars. That's a lot of money for one country. But when we look at the number of downloads, you can see that the games that are in Southeast Asia, specifically in Thailand, they are made of in other countries like global brand or regional like Line or like other big studios that are in the region. But there's none that is from Thailand. As you can see, there's a Jump Flower, which is we are the publisher too. And so I know the problem that we don't actually have like studios that are made game in Thailand and Thai people would play. Because for us to become on that rank, it's very hard enough and we spend a lot of money. So it's almost impossible for the indie game studio to be on that rank without support and the good knowledge. So our goal at the beginning is to bring Thai games to the global level. So we start with a problem. From all the game indie studio that participated in our program, what we can see is that they lack the 3H. Not all, but some. The hipster hackers and hustlers, they are the art people would be hipster, the hackers would be developer, and hustler would be business people. And as Dawn from last session just mentioned, everyone that produce game have passions. You guys want to produce awesome game. You guys have awesome art. You guys have awesome dev. But most of it, like 90% of indie studio or even startup entrepreneurs don't have business mind. You guys don't know how to, not you guys, I'm sorry, but most studio that come to us, they don't know how to do projection, revenue, or even basic thing like 30% sharing to the app store. And that is very difficult for you to actually, compete in the market, because when you think of your, how much you should spend for marketing, you didn't account for that 30% loss. That's just basic things that we found as a problem in the Thai market or even other countries in Southeast Asia. So I think that's the lack of knowledge that we want to provide. So what can you expect from being part of the Incubator Accelerator program? So hand-on experience, like I said, we fly in, experts from all over the world to teach you guys. Teach the incubator teams that, what to do next. And you learn from world-class experts, you learn what they have done that's better, that's good or fail. And you listen about the critiques that might help improve your game. So this is a good part is that when we did the first batch of incubator program, the games are 50% done. So each mentors that came to Thailand to incubate our teams, they get to play the game. They get to see, what is good or bad. They don't just listen to the pitch. So, they can give good, real life critics. So they can be like, oh, this is bad color. It's not going to work out. Just simple things like that. Or if this is too hard, or when you should actually show up the ads, or when the coin should be, stuff like that. Or even for some team that want to, go premium and, people will help you think of how to set up the price for your games. And tips and tricks. I think we were lucky enough that, people that came to give lecture to our class actually were kind enough to open the back end of the system. For example, Mr. David from Gumi Asia, they came in and they, he came in and he opened the back end of his games and show us. So I don't think that many people get the chance to see the back end of Gumi Asia system of how they do money card, or of course there's some confidential thing, but he was open enough to help the teams to think of how you can plan even your market, distribution, or your even your bug system or whatever. So it's good to learn from the expert, so you don't just do your own thing. And you look beyond the game and enter business world, like I just said, or Dawn just said that. You have to think about how you make money and not just put the game up there. Because actually we have one team that were in our batch and they made one game already and they had 500,000 downloads, but they didn't make one single dollar because they made awesome game, but they didn't think about how to make money. They didn't implement the advertising. They didn't implement, like in any in-game purchase or even how to marketing like that game. So basically that's a 500 downloads of nothing. And I don't want to see that happen to any other games company in Thailand or anywhere else. So, like this incubator program intend to help fix that problem. And connections here, I'm not talking about like only the big names, but I feel like when you have your peer, your colleague, critics your work, it's very important to actually listen to other people in the same industry with you. Like for example, when you use the game of like, for example, my game, I had like a jump flower game, and it's like a cookie run but jumping. So, like at first it was like, oh, we don't want to do this. So I ran the idea through like 10 of people in the industry of like, open my game, and I had to trust them. That's what connections are for. And they will be like, hey, why don't you do it this way? I feel like that is very important that you talk to each other. And I like own it to, people that I talk to, and how we became number one game. It's like, I own it to them. So I would say this to my teams all the time that, you need to talk to more people, because the more you give, the more you get. Like you can't just hide your idea and, like close behind the curtain. Otherwise you're never gonna get great critics. And if you get nothing, at least I can promise you that participating in incubator program, by the end of the program, you will get a ready to pitch deck. Which is like very, very important, because like Don just said from the last session again, that, when you see an investor, they won't have time for you. You can't just give them like 100 pages of deck. So with the demo day, you get to present your idea within 5 minutes. So that's a practice already. You get to present it in front of publishers around the world, investor around the world. So that's your practice. So once you see your investor that you want to pitch in an elevator, you have that idea in your head already, and you can sell your game within 5 minutes. And I think that's very important, because, for example, for me in a trade show, when people come to me and try to sell the game for me to publish in Thailand, I only have like 5 minutes. And you have that like time frame to actually sell your idea. And I think being part of incubator program, you get to practice that a lot. And that's very important for an indie studio to practice, because believe me, they won't have time to play your games, and it's your pitching skill that's important. So what happened? We won't be making a game for you. It's funny, but believe me, it happened before that I got like a comment saying that, I bring a guy from Zynga, I brought a guy from EA to Thailand, so why don't you have those people and sit down and tell me what to do exactly in my game? Well, it's not that game, first of all, but it's your game. Like you actually, like this is where he tell you what he has done that was successful, what he has done that was not successful, and you learn that and adapt that. But you won't expect someone to actually do the game for you and tell you exactly what to do. Otherwise, I would have done the game myself. Like I would not incubate in your game. And we can't guarantee your success. It's up to you and your team. Team is the number one success key for any business. Believe me, like we have seen like a startup or a game studio that, like the co-founders fall apart. After they received the fund, they had the money, the game looked great, we were gonna sell it. Big publisher contacted us, but then the last minute, the team fell apart. So before you started anything, before you start pitching, make sure that your team are clear what they do and you have a clear path. Otherwise, you can spend years building a game, and then once someone wants to publish it, it fails. Demo day is not your finish line, it's only the beginning. So like I said, demo day, you will have a pitch deck, you will meet a lot of investors and publishers, but it's not the finish line. Once someone give you money, like for example, MSeed would give you seed money, other investor would give you money, but that doesn't mean you can stop making the game. It's not like other industry where, you finish your whole product, you upload into the app store and it's done. You guys already know, you guys produce game that when it's on the app store, it means bugs, it means reviews, it means like other patch, it means update, it means other scene, other game, like all over. So the demo day is not final. I have learned from like experience that there are teams that I really, really counted on them, and they treat the demo day as a final, and it's kind of like heartbreaking for us as a company, because we had been, like pampering them for 6 months, and then it turned out that, the game are awesome, but, they were not ready to go into public or to make money, because they treated demo day as a final and they didn't do anything after that. What I mean is that when the demo day came, the game might be 70% ready because you're pitching investor, but then 6 months after that, it's still 70% and they don't do anything more. And I have talked to another company that ran an incubator in another country, and this is a common like problems that we've seen. So, like, let's put it this way, like we don't want to see that. Like, don't treat the demo day as the final. So how do you get the most of it? Well, you have to have a clear goal before you entering the program. This is what I've been telling my teams, because you might not know this, but you might only think that, oh, I want to do like puzzle, connect 3 games. But once you come in and you have people from Zynga telling you that, oh, you should do the connect 5, you have people from, I don't know, DNA tell you that you should change the color or characters, you should change the way, the guy move or something like that. That it's your core game, right? You should have that, like you and your team should have strong, like identity of your team, of your game. Because otherwise you will listen to so many other comments. They are good, they are bad, but it's up to your team whether which direction you would go. You can't change every time someone tell you what to do. I could bring experts from all over the world, but I can't tell you what exactly to do with the game. And keep in mind, this is real life and real business. This is not a school project. Because incubator program tend to be for young group of people or indie studio that might be making the first or second game. And some people, like no offense, but with the seed money, they feel like they are successful already and they treat it as like school project, which is not okay. I have seen, other incubator program that have to sue the people who actually in their incubator program to get the money back, because once they get the money, they stop working on the project, which is our risk. And it's, like our responsibility to take care of that. But I want to keep growing the ecosystem of, like big company helping indie studio with, like this kind of program. But if this keep happening, we will not see, big company participating in this kind of thing anymore. And keep experimenting. Like I said, we publish a few games and, we don't have like a cookie cutter rule of how to make a game successful. And everyone keep, like emailing. I could only give you suggestions of which direction to go, and you have to experiment that with your game, with yourself, especially when you're in the studio and you're still new. You have to try many things. And the most important thing for me to recommend is to keep in touch with mentors and partners, because when mentors and partners came to, like give you a lecture or, helping your game out, you have that business card, or you can meet them with like trade events like this one. Make sure that, like they remember your name, they remember your game. They might not like this game of yours, but they might like the next game, or they might even like your team enough to, like want to work with you in other projects. So it's very, very important. Like one of my team actually keep in touch with the guy from Zynga. And they actually emailed the guy, the APK, the most updated APK to Zynga, just asking for opinion. And you'd be surprised that Zynga actually liked the game. It might not be successful or big name or, make a lot of money, but that's a good step, because you get comments and connections from people who matter. So that's it for today. Thank you.
Thank you. So do we have any questions? We have time for 1 or 2 questions before we part. No? There's one.
Yes.
Hi, thanks. I inquire what's the entry requirements for the MSeed Accelerator program, and do you guys take any equity?
Yes, we do take equity, small one. Very small. Yes.
One more.
Right there, yeah.
So you mentioned that MSeed started as a publisher and then after that moved to creating this accelerator program.
Yes.
So after the teams complete their accelerator program, do you offer them any publishing deal?
Yes, we do, but it's because we take very small equity, it's their choice also to pick us or other publishers. And if they pick other publishers, it's also our, our responsibility to help them contact, publishers that they want to go, because not all the teams want to do Thai market, and we only expertise in Thai market. So
So you don't have any programs for the rest of Southeast Asia?
We want to expand, so now I'm talking to, like a few people if we could do, like partnerships in like Singapore or Malaysia, something like that.
Full disclosure, because I'm from AsiaSoft. So,
Okay.
AsiaSoft is a large publisher and we are headquartered in Thailand. So I think it's good that because you are helping the small studios expand and develop their business plan and come up with a prototype project. But for promising games, as a publisher in Thailand, we can take them to the next stage.
Yeah.
If you have any projects or teams to recommend to us.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. I'll definitely pass them to
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Saiyai.
Thank you.